Everybody, morning. Looks like we got channel members Logan, Don, Surge, Svenborn, Ed, Craig, David, Mark, Dan, Rob, Arturo, Diane, Mad, Cliff, Will, Mary, Gaten, Fred, Hugh, Ed, Pauline, B, Ted, Derry, Kevin, Jason. Good to see everybody this morning. John and Frank, welcome to the show. And my just subscribers, thanks for being here too. Couldn't do this without you and your support, just watching the videos and updates and all the things. So, Gernot, Francois, Larry, good to see you all. If you're new here, let us know in the chat. Be a subscriber. Chime in. Got the guava again in that turquoise can this morning for the monster. And OKLO announcing yesterday before the government shutdown that they received NRC Fast Track. What does that even mean? Well, let's get into it, shall we? So welcome back to the show. You know, there's a certain satisfaction, a little chef's kiss moment when the rest of the world finally catches up to what you've been seeing for months. You know, we've talked about this. It's like being the only one at the party who knows the secret ingredient in the punch. And today, good morning, good evening, good night. Today we're talking about secret ingredient. Maybe, just maybe, be able to give global energy a serious jolt in the pants. So let's talk about a story, shall we? A story about a little company called OKLO. Now, if you've been listening to the mainstream media, financial gurus, Comedy Central, CNBC, the guy that screams at you, buy, buy, buy. Let's call him Jim, shall we? You might have thought that OKLO was a joke. Well, they have no income, so kind of it's been a joke if you kind of look at it that way. But, basically Jim laughed it off the stage when it was trading its high single digits. A concept he called a cute little science project. Now, fast forward to today. Well, this cute little science project is up about 2,000% from those single digits. And yeah, you heard that right. 2,000%. Suddenly, our buddy Jim is singing a different tune. Now it's great in concept. The concept is, a great concept. Well, if you can get believers, it makes you money. But we've got to actually do something to make some money, right? So this was something that our buddy Jim just missed. Funny how that works, isn't it? Almost like the real money is made by ignoring financial media talking heads and just focusing on sometimes the story. Sometimes it's the story when they're not making any money. That's what people believe in and buy in. And this is a heck of a story because this isn't just about one stock. This is about a seismic shift in how we might power the future, especially the AI revolution. And the latest chapter just dropped in this updated story. So what was the big news? Our friends at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, NRC, this is not exactly an organization known for being fast moving. In fact, a turtle speed on the mower might be considered fast for this regulatory commission. It is a U.S. government branch, after all, or piece, or whatever you would call it, And so they're not exactly known for being quick at doing anything. Well, they just decided to put OKLO in the fastest of the fast lanes. In fact, Trump kind of authorized this new fast lane since he's been in office. Now, in a move that might be a sign of the apocalypse to come, the NRC has already accepted OKLO's key design report in a whopping 15 days. The normal timeline for something like this, probably 2+ months. And they're even promising a draft evaluation in less than half of the typical usual time. Shutdown and all, beware, I guess. Now, for those of you whose eyes have glazed over when we started talking regulations, let me break this down for you. This isn't just paperwork. This is the golden ticket. By getting their principal design criteria approved, OKLO is essentially creating a template for all of their future reactors. They have big plans. They have very few employees, but they have big plans. It's like getting the master key to a whole city of power plants right off the bat in 15 days. Now, no more starting from scratch with the regulators every single time you got something new. It's kind of a green light for speed and scale, especially when they're just going to cookie cutter these things. At least that's their intention. And why all of a sudden do we have urgency? Well, the whole thing kind of stems from AI. I mean, this bureaucratic beast suddenly woke up and is moving like a cheetah because of AI. Artificial intelligence. And this is the part of the story where maybe you should perk your ears up a little bit. The AI revolution, the data centers that are popping up like mushrooms after a rainstorm, they're hungry, insanely ravenous, hungry for power. I mean, we're talking about a potential $350 billion investment boom in the U.S. nuclear sector just to keep the lights on for all these new robot overlords. Data centers could be sucking up about 10% of all of U.S. produced electricity within the next 10 years. Maybe even more if plans get more aggressive. So, where do we get all of this energy? We need reliable 24/7 power. It's not windmills, certainly not solar panels. Please, for the love of it, when the sun goes down or the wind stops blowing, that's not 24/7 reliable power. Now, yeah, there's solutions. There's batteries and solar batteries and this and that and the other. AI is just not going to be like, oh, sorry, I can't write your email until the sun comes back out. That's not going to be acceptable. No, this new industrial revolution needs a new kind of power. I've been talking about this for a while with people behind the scenes. That power, the only real solution was nuclear. It's been that way for a while. This is the investment opportunity, potentially of a generation. We're at the beginning of a nuclear renaissance, and we're not late yet. And companies like OKLO, with their small modular reactors, they're the tip of the spear so far. They're building power plants of the future today. Now, OKLO, is it a sure bet? Far from it. Still a concept. And as our friend Jim would say, still has no revenue. The stock is volatile, as all could be. And we've seen a recent surge to 144, fib number, and a pullback. This is not for the faint of heart, but for those of you who understand the high risk, potential high reward, grabbing pullbacks to strategic support levels could be a smart move. This is potentially a story that you should keep an eye on. And it's not just OKLO, the entire nuclear supply chain, from uranium miners, URA, to reactor designers, OKLO, and SMR, and all the others in between. So as you watch the talking heads on TV scramble to catch up, maybe you see them suddenly become experts on nuclear energy, even though they've never really talked about it before. Just remember, I've been talking about it for a couple of years now. This story isn't about what's happening today or tomorrow. It's about the potential decade out right now. And this is a future where the atom is going to be important. We're talking about the smallest little thing that we're all made up of, atoms. That's what nuclear is all about, splitting atoms, generating power. And it's driven by the insatiable demands of artificial intelligence. And that, my friends, is the story for today. So be careful out there. You can lose money chasing this stuff. It's all about time frame. We're talking about a story that's going to unfold for decades, potentially. Now, jumping over. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. Just because I predict things, just because I say, hey, sounds like nuclear is going to take off next decade, we could make a lot of money, and maybe it doesn't work, right? I make predictions. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling anything, including OKLO. No stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Be careful. You can lose money, especially if you're trading it. And if you want somebody just to tell you what to do, hire and consult a financial advisor. Kimberly's in the chat, my favorite subscriber. Government shutdown. So, big deal, right? We're down a little bit in the futures. Barely a blip so far. It is down. I mean, it's no sky is falling. But dive in, look at the overnight. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. We made a move up off the lows and a swift retrace. That to me, my friends, looks a bit like 5 up, but it overlaps. See this high right here? See this low right here? See this move up? See this correction? The overlap. This was a relatively clean move down. This was an overlapping hot mess. Where do we go next? So, this is what we've got to watch. Here's what the price action is telling us. We have moved down swiftly overnight. This happened at like, what, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning? Right there. Got 3 this morning. Eastern time. Right there. Not going to show up in the cash index. And we're up to a 618. So this is a potential right now. A wave down, B wave up with that overlapping crap. Maybe even just an ABC right there. Hey, thanks for being a supporter, Marty. And a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a C. Now, this could also be the start of a 1, not very clean, but 2. Since that's all sloppy, that could be a 2. And that could be that push the limits of being impulsive, but it could be impulsive. So we could have a 1, 2, and this could be a 3. So this thing could drop the soap, fall off the bunk bed. Something to be careful and cognizant of. We'll check out the NASDAQ here in a second, but this would potentially put us down like this to reach down here. If things got spicy to the downside, we could be looking at 65.34 on the futures. Remember, futures run a little bit different than the cash. You can see we're running about 50 points different right now. So that would put this down at, that would put the cash down at like 64, 34, 60, 64, 60. You know, 64, 65 roughly. Give or take a few points. 64, 60, 64, 70. If we do this. Now, how do we know we're going to do that? Set your alert right there, right now. We break below that overnight action. Probably coming down here. At the minimum, we're going below that. Now, we break above here. Right here, you set your alert on the upside. Right up there around 67.30. Probably going higher. probably going to make a higher high than that. Now, the last 3 government shutdowns have resulted in a 3.5% pop in the S&P. So, not super bearish on this, but I'm cautious, especially with that $12 million VIX order that went through. Trying to play it safe. Add some protection. NASDAQ, on the other hand, look at this. A lot of bit different here. A lot of bit different. So this is a whole different pattern. This came up pretty aggressively. Made a, this is very classic to an impulsive move up where the 1 stops below the prior high. Very cleanly. That's a 3-wave down. Overnight. This has got us set for a pop in big tech right here. This move, this is where it gets a little wild. This move right here, so the level to watch is right there, right around 24,920. We start above that. Odds are we're coming up here. That's a pretty massive move right there. Pretty massive move. Now you want to know roughly the QQQ prices. Just take these numbers, divide by like 41. You'll get pretty close in the ballpark for QQQ. Right there. In fact, you can even do it right here. And we can set it up right like this. You'd be like, oh, okay. So if we break above, like, it's not going to be perfect, but break above like 608, we're looking for something up around 623. Now you go look at QQQ. And there's some missing data and some gaps and a little bit sloppy. Doesn't really have that beautiful overnight price action, even though we can turn it on a little bit, and still kind of gappy and nasty. Let's kind of look at what we get, roughly 600. So subtract 8 points off of what we were saying. And there's your target, 616. Watch for that breakout and that potential run. Now, that's a bullish chart, but if we break down, it can go lower low. If S&P starts failing, it's a warning sign that NQ might fail. Right there. Ciao. So be careful. Nucor didn't get any regulatory approval yesterday. Why did I talk about OKLO? Because they got approval yesterday. Russell. We've got the first move down, the retrace, and the potential for that move right there to retest that breakout. If we do that during this little shutdown thing the next few days, we can set this baby up to rock and roll. Oil. Was it the EAI, whatever, the energy, whatever, I don't remember what they call it. The people that keep track of how much oil and energy we produce here in the United States. Yesterday, they revised the numbers that we just produced the most oil in 1 month that we've ever produced, ever. When they revised the numbers. That's kind of wild. And likely to push this down right there. Yeah, EIA right there. EIA. Hop off there. Come on. Continue to push reports, blah, 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 blah. So EIA is going to keep pushing out reports, even though, let's see, did that talk about it? Nope. Oh, there it is. U.S. production hit a record 13.6 million barrels a day in July. They revised the numbers for July, which I don't know if you knew, we're in September and we just finished that up. So that runs 3 months behind. Anyway, so the numbers for July, this is why I always joke, like, we don't know, like, they don't even know when they put out these estimates. It's just a freaking wild guess, complete wild guess. And it took them till now to figure out that we set a record in July. Surprise, surprise. So this is probably going to push down. If we do that, probably going to see missiles fly in the Middle East, like we did right over here, and get price back up. And that'd be the why that nobody talks about. Why did missiles fly before? Because of that. Nobody talks about that, but that's why, we had to take Iran's nuclear capability out and blah, 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 and they were firing missiles at Israel and blah, 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 blah. It's because oil prices dipped into the mid-50s. If it happens again, more missiles. Almost guarantee you. Gold pushing higher today on the government shutdown, along with Bitcoin. Go, Bitcoin, go. That's what I got to say right there. Let's get above this right here and go for it. Let's get it. Let's get her done. Coming in, we're in October. Like early October is when, early to mid-October, basically when I've said we're probably going to top out. For 4 years, I've talked about this. So let's go. Let's finish this up. Now, caution. Anything higher than that high right there could finish that up. Anything higher than that could be it. We can come up way short of where I expected. Although we could get some crazy sugar honey iced tea and see this rip way up in here to the targets. 150 was roughly my low end, 170 the high end of my conservative area. And if things get absolutely bananas, we could see something up in the 300, but I would lean toward this. If we get up in here, start booking off your profits. Lighten the load. Go down to reset your risk. Parade minimum for this. This is like gravy train. This is where I expect. Anything below here is kind of disappointing. And then watch out for crypto winter. Everybody's like, I don't think it'll happen this time because XYZ, blah, 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 blah. 72% of the Bitcoin is still held by private individuals. If we make those kind of numbers up there, supply will come to the market. Now, that just presents opportunity to buy back in on a dip. I'm just saying, don't get caught up in the narrative. We are likely going to have crypto winter. If Ethereum can break through this downtrend, go, baby, go. I'd love to see this up above this red zone, get some targets up here in the 6,000 area. If you don't have any Ethereum exposure, ETHA could be a way to do it. ETH, fingers on the right keys. ETHU would be another way with a little bit of leverage. Don't have any exposure to Bitcoin, BITU, BITX. Was it BCT? BTC. I can't remember what the. Can't remember the other 2x leverage one. Pulling a blank. bit U, bit X, and let's find it. Or BTCL. That one may have been the one I was thinking of. Yeah, there's a bunch of them now. BTCZ. Any of these ones that say 2x leverage. There's BitX down there. Why not just IBIT? Well, you can do that, but you don't have the leverage, all right? So if you want to try to take advantage of leverage without actually trying to buy options or figure out that, just buy one of these. BitX, BTCL, BTCU, or BITU. So one of the 2x leverage. Just buy shares. Don't buy options on those. Don't play with fire. NKD, that looks like we may have retested. This can shoot off higher and do it in a big rapid way. Dollar, retesting that downtrend. If we hold it, pop to the roadmap line. If we fold it, probably going lower low. That was a 3-wave. 3-wave retraces, and now we're overlapping stuff I talk about every working day. Look at that, beautiful, perfect, pretty much perfect, spot on. ABC correction, absolutely beautiful correction. Oop, clicked the wrong. ABC, beautiful correction, absolutely beautiful. And that, if we break down below the B, usually means we're going to spike a low lower than the start point right there. That's trend, pullback, continuation. Now there's always a couple pathways we can take. We can always get continuation higher. This can do whatever it wants to do. It doesn't have to follow the exact pattern, but the patterns, they work out most of the time. That's how I get lucky a lot. And we did break down through the uptrend of lows. If this doesn't just reverse here, probably going to see it come back down. And that is the rest of the story. Apple dumpling. If you break out here, 276 on the upside. Amazon still being soft, sitting on the roadmap line. If we can hold it, we could pop on up. If we don't hold it, be careful. And you may be like, where's the freaking roadmap line? It's like right here. It'll draw in a second. Calculating. Maybe a minute, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. Trading view being bad. There it goes. See, right there. How'd I know? One, I remember from looking at the chart a bunch of times, but two, I can kind of see it without even having to draw it on the chart. It comes with practice. Google, so far come up shy of 263, but that's kind of what I expect a lot of times when we don't slow down at any of these fib lines. We just go shooting on up. Usually we run out of steam before we can come on up here. Now, do we revisit this one, or do we revisit that one, or do we have to come all the way back down to the breakout? I don't know. Those are the supports, and that's the upside target. If you can't hang on for a $40 retrace before we get the $20 upside, reevaluate your life choices. I'm playing Google. Meta, indicating we're going on a bigger, deeper retrace. Roadmap line, I think it's about right there. And if we get below that, might come all the way back down to the lows. Kind of talked about this for several days now. Yeah, pretty darn close. So watch out for that. Get below it, down. We bounce off of it. Next upside target, 839. Microsoft still in this potential correction here. Upside resistance still up here in between this zone and downside. Back to the breakout. And we've already tested over here, but we bounced and did a lackluster bounce. So upside potential here, and downside potential right in here. And there's the roadmap line coming up to visit. And if we get below that, well, could come all the way down in here. NVIDIA still grinding. Upside near term, short term resistance. We kind of already visited 187, 190 above that. 212, the bigger target here. If we can get some gusto to the upside. If we break down, watch for a return back to those highs we had from the last several months. November, January, that breakout where we broke out of those highs, we could come back and revisit that in our good pal, the roadmap line right there. So we could come back there pretty easily. Tesla. So countdown's on. When do they release the numbers? Probably by Friday. There are millions upon millions of dollars worth of options, call options specifically, that have been bought, looking for this to pop as high as 960. That is working crazy. I might ship my pants if we go to 960 with the amount of calls I have. And, well, not calls. I have shares of leveraged TSLL. We'll just, look at it. January, 32,000 contracts at 960. Maybe like, well, it's likely somebody sold those against lower, but somebody holds those open, right? You can't open a contract without somebody being a buyer and somebody being a seller. So somebody's got 32,000 contracts at 960 for January open. That's crazy. Absolute bananas. Even look at, gets a little thin up to October. So at least that's reasonable. But look at that, 720,000 contracts. 700. I'll take it. I'll take that in 17 days. I'll buy that for $1. Be careful out there. It's unprecedented call buying on Tesla, and that can drive that thing higher. There goes Netflix. Congratulations. Wrong number. We're going to be right. Look at that. First support, second support, right down here. Dang. All right. So I go pull all the gainers, things moving $2 or more up, put it on the gainers list, things moving $2 or more down, put it on the decliners list, and it seems like today's list is kind of volatile. The Sats, looks like we might have topped out and need a pullback. This, I mentioned, they were selling off their frequency, but they got a $2 billion stake in Starlink, or SpaceX basically. But they no longer own their frequency outright. So now they're kind of an investment company in SpaceX, I guess you might say. Because the SpaceX, how do you say it? The SpaceX equity. Yeah. That's, SpaceX equity is not liquid. So it's not like they got paid $2 billion cash and they can use that. They're just sitting on $2 billion in SpaceX equity that's illiquid. So it doesn't do any good. Doesn't do any good. They could sell it to somebody else, but doesn't provide you any value, any usable capital right now. Likely to come back down. And the interesting thing, though, SpaceX announced they're going to have their own satellite-based cell phone network to compete with T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. So if you didn't pay attention, this could be an interesting play right here. T-Mobile has been my SpaceX play, but this could be the SpaceX play right here. Another one. This is another one I got involved in back here. Gosh, where did we get involved in this? Back here somewhere. Working out pretty well so far. LW. Well, we went lower. Had the potential to hold. Didn't hold. Lower. Right there. Target to the downside. Now we're just chopping. This can catch up to the roadmap line and go lower again. Yeah, we've caught up. So this can go lower again. Be careful. As long as we're down here, lower highs, still a downtrend. Didn't do the bullish thing. Didn't do the bullish reversal. So I'm kind of biased for bullish reversals because, well, the S&P typically goes up every year for the last bajillion years. Not news. I need the seasonality. This is a cool new feature I found. You can click this on, do this, average, table, and we could look at all the way down at the bottom. Come on now. Scroll me down. All right. January, usually up. February, up. March, up. April, up. May, flat. June, up. July, up. August, up. September, ooh, last, whatever that is, 100 and long time years. September, kind of soft. October, up. November, up. December, up. For the year, 6.5% a year for the last, however long that is, like 150 years. Come back to more reasonable 75 years, 9% a year. Why bet against that, right? Last 75 years. Why bet against 9.3% a year? I'm just saying, you'd be like, hey, go to modern times. Just in the 21st century, 8% a year. Underperforming the 75-year. Why bet against it? We historically have some soft months here. February, June, August, September. Felt like you're grinding against the market. Coming into some better months, though. Right there. They're like, well, let's look at something more recently. Yeah, basically since COVID, or including COVID, 14% a year. So we're running hot. September still kind of weak. October and November. November's particularly, look at that, 6%. So just keep it in mind. Does seasonality have to play out? Shoot, no. Look at that. 100% of years for the last 6. July was an up month. A little bit choppier in here. So 5 out of 6 years we've been up. Can you do this with other indexes? Absolutely. Do that with NASDAQ. 2022, the only one that was kind of suffering there. Looking on back to Y2K. I found this the other day, like over the weekend. I found this, and it's pretty. I think it's pretty fun. So, last 25 years, 20 years up, 5 years down. So, why bet against that? Odds are we're going up every year. We're underperforming so far this year. Look at that, 23, big up. 24, half. 25, a little bit less. Look at the last one down here, 1% down, 37, 47, 26. 41 down, 53. So any year Nasdaq's down big, time to go. Time to go. We typically rebound pretty good. Although that was a double year right there. .com bust. But then big rebound right there. So be careful. You know, causation, not correlation, causation. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. Celsius in here. I really want to see this retrace to the roadmap line. Not going to lie. NGL. I want to see that hit. And I can chase after again because beautiful upside potential. This one be a little soft. Not sweating it so far. I'm just under break even, I guess. My break even was down here at like 94. Yeah, got to put those shares. We'll see what happens. Docu, it's being soft yesterday on supposedly the news or the reason. You know, everyone wants to know the reason. Supposedly OpenAI announced they're going to do document custody, whatever. That's basically what Docu does. You know, DocuSign. They do online document signing and security. So primary business threatened by OpenAI, and we get a pullback to the 786. Funny enough, that's a move up, that's a retrace, and potential to go higher. So some might say we just kind of needed it, and we rejected. Funny, double funny enough. Gap down, and we turned down out of the middle of the gap. You tell me, was it really OpenAI news, or were we already being a little soft and we needed to pull back out of that gap, retrace to a support level so we can go higher again? Ignore the news. Just don't worry about it. The why is not a fundamental problem here with the company's business. They still make crap loads of money. Still doing good. Still print money. Still a ridiculously low price to sales. Low debt compared to how much money they're making. No big problems here. Still potential to go higher. I sold the 79s. I originally got put at 79 over here in July. Probably on that drop, I think. And looking to go higher. In case anybody wonders, Docu calls, I booked them out right there. Yesterday on the drop. Instead of going out for a penny, I came up to 3 cents. Seemed like a reasonable thing to do. And I resold 79s for this Friday, which has got 2 days left. Make some extra money. I got more money than 3 cents to come down from 84 to 79. Be like, well, you're committing to selling at 79, but I don't think it's getting up there by Friday. All right. If this thing turns around and shoots higher, oh well, I made a bad choice. But I don't see it turning around and moving up higher that fast. Could it? Sure. Likely? Probably not. We should drop really fast and then recover much more orderly. So, there you go. Dun, 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 dun. What is the chart called? What chart? Huh. While you're at it, make Mara go up too. Oh, what are we doing today? Let's see. Mara. I mean, it's reasonable. Hanging with the homies. Let's break out and go. There. Pitter patter, let's get at her. Right? We've got, so look at this. Similar to Docu. Move up. Swift retrace. Right into the same zone. Let's go higher. And move up. That retrace. 25, 24. This would be the target right now based on that proportion of that pullback and that expansion right there. See if we can do it. All right, glanced off the roadmap line. Be careful. We're down to support zone. We hold it much higher. If we break down below it, we could go lower low. Baba keeps cruising. Let's look at K-Web. Let's go higher. I would love to see this at 48. WDC. Churning, baby, churning. This is it's unusual that the gainers list gets this choppy. Usually that is not the case. And then the decliners list is kind of turned around quite a bit too. Wow, look at it. STR turning, turn and turn and turn and burn and burn and burn. Oh, that's why. It's the wrong list. Save, reload. I knew something was up. There we go. I knew that had to be funny. Like, usually the list doesn't all get weird. So there's the real list. Carvana. BTCL. That's the one I was looking for. That's the BTCL. That's another leverage long. 2x. T-Rex. 2x on T-Rex. There's the pullback. That potentially shoots us up to 70s right now. On that one. DEO. Yeah, I would not call a bottom here. It looks like we got lower to go. I would be very careful on that one. BM. Really? BMNR has a leverage ticker. Talk about a dumpster fire garbage. Look at these reverse splits. Holy. A reverse split, a regular split, a reverse split, and another reverse split. God, what a garbage. What a piece of garbage. But guess what? It's got a leverage ticker. If you want to take advantage of it, potentially ripping higher. Reddit taking a trip down to the roadmap line. GE Veranova, roadmap line. First move down, retrace. Comb. Oh, history of the stock performance. It's right here. Like, you roll down seasonal, click seasonal. That's how you get it. Go to a table, pull in the years. You can see the performance. You can do this for any stock, and you can, what was it in this period? And what was it in that period? You can't mix and match, though. It's the only problem. So it's on every, like, it's just on TradingView on every ticker. They added this seasonality thing. So kind of cool, I think. I keep adding more and more stuff. So chow mein, chow mein, low, high, retrace, 3 waves, A, B, oops, grabbing stuff I didn't mean to. A, B, C, potential to go higher. Actually looks pretty nice. Came up to the resistance, retraced, came down pretty deeply. This could be a big opportunity for this to pop on out to 180. That's a double. Not bad right there. And a lot of the decliners are coming back here, it looks like. Let's look at setups. Let's just clear this baby off. We've got a high, we've got the low, we've got to get the fib tool working. There was the entry yesterday, target 364. I would not trade it, low price stuff. AEP, remove. Here's the high, here's the low. There's the entry, 116 target. Let's grab the statistics. 50. Oh, that's 50 trades. So this one has a statistical significance, but it is in line with the historical average, basically 75, 74.8. This comes at 76, so slightly better than average. There's the target. About 76% likely to come up here. Profit factor runs a little hotter than the standard at 1.2 is the normal, 74.8 across tens of thousands of trades. So this is better. This is better. Better than the average trade. Not like hugely better, but better than the average trade. Could be worth a shot. You can make now you can wait for a pullback, but you may not get a pullback. It's about a 3.6% upside on shares. Could take a while. And here's the high, here's the low. There was the entry, and 32.78. This one's got, so this one's 33. That's statistically significant. That's running hotter than the average. 78%. That's good. 70, better than 74.8. That's better. And this is basically right in line with the 1.2. So likely to come up here, 75%. 78% likely. 78% to get to 32, 78. Do your own work, put your high, put your low. Stop is $1 below the low, as always. And CAH. There's the entry, 173 targets. 30. Wow, look at these. We're getting a bunch of these. This one running below the historic and below. That's negative, so I wouldn't take it. That means the losses are bigger than the gains, and danger, 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 danger. CMS. So this fired off back here. It won't fire off again, but we did have another pullback, and it sets the target a little lower for this one, 75 with 77 upside. EXC. Excellent. That one's already almost to the target right there. Be careful. 44.72, 1.3. Guts. Take some guts to trade this downtrend here. And not quite above that. It picked up this little one right here. I would wait for the bigger one, the gap fill. And still low price stuff, so I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it, for me personally. NGG. There was the kickoff and target 75.82. Yeah, numbers don't speak to me. It's not whispering in my ear. I want to get involved in that. This one back here hasn't hit the target yet, but it's about to at 26.43. It kicked off this entry right here. And basically 26.51 is going to satisfy both of those. So that one's already kind of played out. A couple pennies upside. But look at that, 51 trades, 82%. Profit factor negative though. REG, excuse me, This one's been in a trade for a while now. It's been grinding, bouncing right on the roadmap line. 75.33 on this current bounce. STGW, another entry, $6. And USPH. Here's a high, here's a low. There's an entry and 90.31. Ooh, that's basically statistically significant right there. And it has all the stuff I would do to get involved. You know, that's one trade shy, but 86. One trade's not going to wreck that. So better than 80%, check plus. And profit factor basically 2, check plus. That's a nice one. Out of all those, that would be the one. Looking for 90.31 in the upside. All right, everybody, bias for the day. Looks like we're going higher, but be careful. Kind of outlined it in the head there. Watch out for the breakdown below the low from last night. If we can break out above the high from yesterday, going higher. Could be a big up based on NASDAQ. That big up. Could take a rocket ship up here. So be careful out there. I'll be back again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15. I'll be on Market Masters at 11:30 today. If you want to come hang out with me and Jack,